Hey, talking about a day of first and different. This is going to be a part two of weakness. After I finished recording that one, a lot of things just kind of seem unsaid, so I just wanted to have a part two. So, one thing in Flawed, you're going to find out there's always going to be different and learning experiences for us all. When I sit back and I talk of weakness, the one thing that wasn't quite a story of weakness of myself, I want to rewind back to when I was a little girl. When I would say, I wouldn't even call it the first sexual experience because with little kids, sometimes little kids have that, the exploration of wanting to figure things out and, ooh, show me yours, show me this type of situation, which I'm not going to speak on all state accountants and so on, but that was my experience in the South. And quite a few people that I know from the South have had the same type of experiences. So that was something that I wanted to kind of talk on a little bit. Now, with that being said, it was really weird and somewhat awkward. I I did not feel strange in that moment, in that time. The only thing about it, and I didn't even feel weak per se. It was just that she was someone that I kind of looked up to. And when I say looked up to, she already had a child. She was almost 17. And she was, when I called myself a wild child, by standard and definition, for me, in my inexperience, that was the epitome of a free spirit wild child. She just had a I don't give up attitude. And I kind of admired that because it was as if she could care less about what the judgment and stigma of her would have been because she was already a parent and she really didn't care. When I was able and allowed to spend a night, the reasoning for it was because they were going to church the next day. So that was my way of getting to stay over because since they were going to church, I could ride along with them. When we slept in her bed, I never felt that it was a weakness of submission, of giving in to her. It was more like I enjoyed it. I enjoyed her company and I felt in a safe place. And I think that's why it's so difficult for children to speak out to anyone because what ends up happening is that if you tell someone, you do feel at fault if they get in trouble or if even you get into trouble. You have that guilt. But then you sit back and wonder, well, what's wrong with me if it actually didn't bring me the quote unquote pain that everyone says? Now, being able to be, number one, a parent and older, I can look back and go, oh, okay. But I didn't get all this resolution until I started listening and watching, when all of this R. Kelly information started coming out. And you start to sit back and go, huh, you know, just because an inexperienced mind gravitates towards it doesn't make it okay. But I felt in that time, in that moment, that it was. It really did alter a lot of my perception. I am really opening up the Pandora's box of my life to see who I truly am. You know, I make a lot of jokes, which a lot of people will sit back, who knows me, will say, oh my gosh, will she ever be, serious? And I am serious. I am really sometimes a little too serious to a point of being melancholy, and I don't want to have so much dark veil to cover my eyes to a point that all I foresee is darkness. I want to be able to keep lightness. But sometimes, as a defense mechanism, I have a hee hee ha ha, hee hee ha ha. I am fully baked. And when I say fully baked, that means that as much as I am trying to clean up of who I am and my life, I am I am me. I am me. And with me being me, I am going to have to find myself accountable for decisions that I make that are for, I guess, a weakness. And I don't feel that, I've tried so many different therapists to a point that, I mean, someone has had several decks, porches, boats, cars, automobiles, all kinds of things because of me going in, dishing, unleashing who I am. And then what ends up happening, I still walk out with the same. And then, okay, so what do I do? Where do I go? How do I seek? And no one has any answers. So if anyone has a little bit more clarity, may have gone through anything like this, by all means, leave a comment, engage, please, because I feel that this will be a better form of me, because the more I talk it off of me, the better I do feel. It's just that when I go to a therapist, they are quick to want to pick up a prescription pad. Oh, Lord. Although I am the type of person to make you want to pop a pill or two or so. So, hell, maybe they got tired of hearing me to a point they said, damn, I need a drink. So that very well could be the case in point. So with that being the case in point, please, someone sit back and say, don't jump at every opportunity that you feel is a momentary thrill, because I really gravitate towards my weakness, and I should not be that person. I should not sit back and go, oh, the flesh wants this, the flesh wants the flesh, because I am truly an insatiable person, and I don't want that to be all I am. I mean, it isn't, because so many of you are listening to me right now, sitting back going, oh my gosh, I didn't know this of her. I hid it well, and to a few of you, yep, that's her. I didn't hide it so well. It's my truth. And with it being my truth, I want everyone to sit back and say, let's find a way to get it better. Find a way to get her on track. I need to be on my perfect track of, I don't always say yes, but I do say yes at the wrong time. I seek out opportunities, it's almost like I have a sick, twisted bucket list of what I want to strike off. I'm twisted. I'm not a sexual deviant, but I have encountered and delved into some really dark areas. So with that being one of the flawedness of me, I'm going to work on it. I had to make a part 2 because as I was thinking, as I, started going through this, I was like, wow, it really is a weakness. It's something I can work on. It's almost as if you put a child in a candy shop. As much as that child sits back and say, well, as much as a parent is supposed to govern over the child and say, too much, you'll get sick, blah, blah, blah. I know all the do's and don'ts, and yet I still gravitate towards, So, like I said, I am a pansexual. There is no such thing as, there's a such thing as an airplane, but there's no such thing as sitting back saying, I lean towards this or I lean towards that. I lean towards whatever in that moment is my happiness. Even though I know once that act is over, it's a weird high. That's all I can sit back and say. It's an insatiable high that I enjoy. So once again, just continue to like, subscribe, and put out notifications, so that way there's no telling where my conversations will go. So I just want you to sit back, and even if you say, hey, you're telling us too much, that's part of the TMI experience. That's part of the TMI. My children, if you are watching, hi. If you're not, good for you. they're adults right now. There are no babies. And I know I may be too old to be going through this, but I'm not. So I love you all. I love you all. Continue to be there for me. I'll be there for you.